What can I do for you?
Oh, little song, little dance, Batman's head on a lance. Tell me, what do you know about...
I don't know anything about Batman.
Really? Well, how about a little you and me?
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. Obviously, earlier in the day, we did talk about Batman 117, what was a very lackluster finale for Batman Fear State. If you haven't checked out that video, definitely go check that one out. But we will cover all the rest. We've got big news. Batman and Jace Fox are vacating Gotham. We've also got the debut of Robins, a comic book that a lot of people have secretly been dreaming for years. We finally got it. Not exactly what I think we wanted. We've also got an issue of Nightwing and Batman versus Bigby. And here with me, as always, is my good friend Josh McDonald from PopByCulture.com, as well as contributor to BatmanNews.com. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing well. We're here to talk about some rather lackluster Batman books, I believe.
This has been one of the worst weeks in Batman.
It was
since we started the show. Like, there's not a good comic that I read.
Yeah, no, not at all. There are moments where you have weeks like this, and I flip through and I read, and I'm just like, why do I do this? Like, why do I do this to myself? But it's worth it in the long run.
Thankfully, there's some news, not exactly good news, but there's something that we can talk about before we get into the shit show that are the Batman comics this week.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
We knew Bruce was going to be leaving Gotham, which I still think is weird because Bruce was leaving Gotham in Batman, but they're telling some Arkham Tower story in Detective Comics, which sounds like that is in Gotham. Whatever. Yeah. Bruce is leaving Gotham. I assumed that was to leave the city in the care of Jace Fox. But apparently Jace Fox is leaving Gotham as well for New York City. This is my issue, Josh. I don't think it's a bad thing for Bruce to vacate Gotham, maybe go somewhere else for a little bit of time before he comes back to his hometown. As far as the supporting comic characters, in the entire industry, I think Gotham is the best supporting comic character, regardless of time.
Yep. Was there more to was there more to that or just
No, that was just
I thought you were gonna keep going. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I agree. Like Gotham itself feels like a character. It's got like a seedy nature. You've got a lot of different parts of Gotham that each have their own identity. And you've got a fully fleshed out supporting cast within Gotham. So, with that, it makes Gotham feel real and lived in and fully realized. I completely agree. It's a great character.
And within the last, 18, 20 months, we've had Gotham taken over by supervillains 3 times.
3 times.
Put the entire city at peril. People being murdered on the streets due to all the anarchy and whatnot. Why would Bruce and Jace leave the city at this point? They're the best chance they have at survival. Like, what are they, assholes?
Pretty much. That's what it seems like. This whole thing is a means to an end of like, what can we do that's different? And it makes no sense for them to leave. That's what I'm curious to see what his reason for leaving is, because I thought he was going to be injured or need to take care of something because of Fear State. Clearly, we know that's not the case anymore. So why have them leave?
I think putting Jace in New York isn't the worst idea. Give him his own city. Nightwing's got Bloodhaven. Give him New York City. There are parts of it that are just as seedy as Gotham, or could be just as seedy as Gotham. Give him his own territory to stake out and make his own legacy as a Batman, the Batman of New York City, although certainly we've seen our Batman in New York as well. But both of them leaving seems a bit odd.
It's really odd, I don't understand what the motivation is, but also, looking at Jace going to New York, he's kind of in this Miles Morales situation where he's Batman, but not really Batman. And he gets a different city.
No one calls him Batman. You call him Jace Fox.
100%. So I hope they set him up in New York City, give him his own name, and let him just kind of go there and build him as a character for a while.
Why didn't they just go with Batwing? It was already a cool character.
Part of me is wondering if some of these decisions have been made because people figured it out too soon. Like we know Luke Fox was going to be Batman and they changed it. And part of me wonders if this idea to have Jace go to New York was because so many people were opposed to Jace becoming Batman in Gotham. I can't help but think that is the reason why.
I can't help but think that this is, it doesn't make sense for the stories that have been told within the continuity for the last couple years that they would vacate the city. You know, who's the only character that could potentially step in is Gotham Girl, and we haven't heard a peep about that character since Tom King left.
I'm okay with that. Let's keep her in the closet. Just throw her away.
Jeez, Josh, that's no way to talk about that character. But seriously, if you think about it, Gotham Girl is the most powerful hero in the DC Comics universe.
Yep. I mean,
Like,
sure.
she threw
Like
Captain Atom on his ass.
yeah, she beat him and like he was nothing. And then
Superman
the just
could do that.
yeah, she's so powerful the Justice League wouldn't intervene. Like keep that, just throw her away, get rid of her, pretend like she never existed. You know what I think? I think we're gonna see another mimic going on where what they did with John Kent is what they're gonna do with Tim Drake.
Oh, where he steps up and he becomes
because
the new...
then you've got gay Batman.
It would make sense because you would have a gay Aquaman, you would have a potentially gay Shazam. I'm imagining this Mary Marvel reveal is going to come with the character coming out
Possibly.
as far as LGBTQ representative.
And instead of being the A-Team Justice League, they're going to be the Hey Team Justice League.
Well, JLQ. We've been waiting for it.
No, I know.
They
said it was coming. So I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I look, at the end of the day, and this is me being serious, I think they're making too many decisions for the wrong reason. And I think there were too many things in motion that they couldn't stop. When DiDio was fired, they had the whole Jace Fox, Black Batman thing in motion. They altered it a little bit. Then Tynan stepped in, started his path and direction, and then is clearly stepping away probably sooner than they expected. So I think they had two cylinders running, and neither one of them are really coming to fruition. So it's created just a total mess, and no one really knows what to do with it.
I'm with you. Speaking of total mess, let's get into these comic books. Let's get into old Nightwing.
Oh,
early on in Tom Taylor's run, he's had some memorable issues, some issues that I think have been pretty damn good.
Yep.
Especially with the art by Bruno Redondo. This week we get Butthole Boy, Robbie Rodriguez, in there as the artist, which is, in my opinion, it's a big time to downgrade as far as the art.
Oh, 100%.
Derailing this Nightwing series by this massive crossover, I think, has been a bad idea. And it comes to fruition in this series. Apparently, you were supposed to read this one before Batman. I didn't know that before I read Batman.
Same.
It happens. Like he had to fit it into Fear State, but there wasn't much left to do. So he ends up telling the ending that is told differently in Batman as far as the downfall of Simon Saint.
Yep. You have the Nightwing and the allies, Batman's allies, sidekicks, whatever you want to call them, going up to their air base, infiltrating it. Yeah. Well, yeah. Stephanie, Batgirl, all them, going up to the air base, taking it down. But how they take it down is completely different. In Batman, it's the whole group of them taking it down. And then in Nightwing, it's like they all go up there, but it's only Dick and Babs that take it down because the others rescue kids that we've never heard about until this issue. Nobody knows what's going on. Even the people at DC, they don't know what's going on. So it's a mess.
It absolutely is a mess. You get in here, they're making fun of them for kissing. Oh, okay. I guess we're 5-year-olds again. Dick and Babs sitting in a tree, KASSING kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, like you said, you get up there and they're like, oh yeah, there's these kids we got to save. And then who's the seer?
Some chick.
Okay. Some girl with the black bob haircut.
Yeah.
We finally saw her at the end.
Pink fuzzy hood. Yeah. We see, and what's crazy is we see her at the end of this. We also see her at the end of the Batgirls backup, which takes place before Nightwing and Batman. I can't, man.
The Batgirl's book is after Batman.
No. So
you're supposed to read that before the book?
Yeah, that story takes place before the Batman, these last few issues, and before the Nightwing crossover starts.
I didn't read it. I'm still unaware.
You didn't miss anything.
I checked out on the backup stories a long time ago.
Hey, that's a smart man. I'm very jealous of you. Also, did you feel like this was the worst written issue of Nightwing so far under Taylor?
Yeah.
It was bad, man. It was so heavy-handed. It was just like, It seems like he doesn't care, and I don't blame him. But for the
No,
sake of
you can
us,
see he was. I feel like I could read the frustration from the writer and the fact that why am I even doing this?
yep, 100%.
And I don't blame him.
I don't either. I mean, with how little Tynan did in Batman, they could have had all these plots in Batman and just let Tynan write it.
Yeah, and that didn't need to really tie in. He could have been. We should have been seeing Bitewing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, agreed.
But this comic sucked, and as far as the comics we're going to talk about, it's better than It's the best one of the week, and it still sucks.
Yep. It does.
All right. Let's get I want to hear your opinions on this because we got Robins. I've been calling Tim Seeley the Mendoza line of comic book writers. He's as bad as you can be and still continue writing for DC and Marvel. 1 out of every 5 comic books that he writes is readable.
Yeah.
This one is not. The
yeah.
art is terrible. But I'm conflicted. Is it worse than Batman 117? I'm not sure.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I don't know how to answer that. I dislike Robins for different reasons, and my biggest issue with Robins is they try to write it like a comedy. That's what I felt, anyways. Like there's way too much joking. The joking doesn't feel honest to the characters. All the characters kind of feel the same. They're just blank characters throwing a joke out. And that's what I hated. Plus, I feel like the story is a stupid story. This whole idea of like, oh, the original
There was
Robin.
another Robin that was there
Yeah.
before Dick Grayson.
Yeah. One, that trope is so tired and old that I want to just roll my eyes every time I see that that's coming. But there's a lot going against this book. Yeah. I have Tim Seeley. Tim Seeley, too. Like, it's one of those things that my first interaction with Tim Seeley's writing was Grayson, which he did with Tom King, and I thought it was excellent. And I thought his Nightwing was solid. But after that, I haven't really enjoyed anything he's done.
Nah, he's not very good, in my opinion.
No.
And this really shows it out. He's another one of those writers, like a Jason Aaron. He needs a break from the big two. And I think, when you say this book has a lot going against it, really it had a lot going for it. This is what the fans voted for.
Yep.
There was like 16 opportunities to write a comic book, and this is the one they wanted the most. How do you drop the ball like this? Why do you let Tim Seeley pitch the Robins book? How about somebody good?
Yeah. I mean, the whole round robin thing is just a big question mark to begin with. Why would you do this? And then they're already doing pretty much everything anyways, but they did not pick top talent. They just did it to do it. And I think that's part of the problem in what we're seeing with comics. They're just doing things to do them. I don't really know what else to say.
We've already got Robins going on in fucking Nightwing.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is like, what this book would cover, you pretty much got 2 other books covering it. So you get the Robins together in Nightwing. You're getting more of a Bat family aspect within the Batman books in general. So you have this, and it's pretty much doing the same thing, but then it's also trying to explore the idea of Robin and why he's there. But we're getting that done much better in Robin and Batman. So why have this exist? There is no point.
And Wayne Family Adventures is out there for free, and you can have all the Robins joking around with each other.
And I would say it's written well better. I don't know if that's. I don't think that was grammatically accurate, but it's much better.
That's more better. I agree with you.
This is what these books have done to me, man. I can't even freaking talk.
Yeah, you're killing Josh's. You're killing Josh's brain cells. Josh is angry.
Josh angry. Josh hungry. I feel like I might be getting dumber reading these books. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I mean it's a lot of Batman books, and obviously we have committed ourselves. I don't even read all of them, and it feels overwhelming to me. So I can imagine the guys over at the guys and gals over at BatmanNews.com. It's got to be, can you even report the news? You're just so busy reading goddamn Batman comics.
Sheesh, man. We have a Discord, and honestly, I'm probably the most negative person out of all of us. Everyone else is relatively positive, potentially too positive, and we're all like just over it. We are done. We're so over what they're doing. We're so tired. It's been awful, and there hasn't been much to redeem. And then our head, Andrew, he kind of caught up and was like, okay, well, I'm done with Batman comics for a little while because I need to get back to some sanity. And that's a bad thing when you've got Batman fans that feel that way across the board.
Yeah. People that are taking out their time to contribute to a Batman, like, news site for news and reviews are like, I need a break.
Yep.
Because and the quality just hasn't. There are good Batman comic books out there, but you have to get through a lot of bad ones.
Yep. And especially right now, because they're all kind of connected and tied to each other. I do have a question. This initial Robin, do you think it's someone we know?
I don't care. I'm not going to read it anymore.
Well, yeah, I don't want to either. I have this scary suspicion they might try to make it quote unquote Carrie Kelly.
Well, we do know Carrie Kelly is returning in a Frank Miller YA graphic novel. One of the weirdest ideas I've ever heard.
What are you talking about? When I hear the name Frank Miller, I think of YA. It sounds perfect.
Yeah. So maybe they're investing more in the character.
Maybe. I don't know. They tried to bring her into continuity before in the New 52, and it seems like something they're dead set on trying to do at some point. So it wouldn't surprise me. We do have a crisis. It cannot come fast enough.
I don't know. Who else should they get? Like I don't know, Garth Ennis to write like some Dogman comics, right?
Oh yeah. Then he's gonna have some illegitimate child with like a snake, and then that snake's gonna want to come back and have the dog like breed with it. Sure.
Yes, we could. We have like a young Dick Grayson murdering animals and stuff.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine. So many people are probably going to hear that dog snake thing and not know what in the hell we're talking about. It's Reptilian. We're talking about Reptilian.
It's such a weird comic book.
It's so weird.
I recommend it just for the the car wreck aspect of it. What is it going to do next?
Fuck, I don't even know. You can recommend it. I do not. Save your sanity, people.
Yeah, Robin sucked. I just whatever.
It's bad.
I'm not reading that comic book anymore. You cannot force me to read Tim Seeley.
And honestly, if I were to make a comparison to the writing, I would say it's like that Joss Whedon humor type writing.
You mean it's?
But to me, I think there's a difference.
15 years past its sell-by date.
It's 15 years past its sell-by date, and I would argue that as much as we say or compare to Joss Whedon, when Joss Whedon did this, his characters still felt like his characters, and there was usually a point to the humor 60 to 70% of the time. Here, they're just doing it. Like, it's bad.
Yeah. Oh, so random. Okay, let's get into Batman versus Bigby now. I have not been reading this one, but you've been recommending it highly. I get in here. Well, it was my first taste of it, and I'm unimpressed.
So the first issue I recommended highly. The second issue left me a little unimpressed, and the third issue I felt like kind of picked it back up a little bit. It's different at this point. I thought it had a lot of promise after the first issue, but now my whole stance is that it's different. It's a different take. It's a different look. I know Drew was recommending it from Comics Elite as well. I would be curious to talk to him after this issue to see how he feels. Is it great? No. It's better than what we're getting in Batman.
Well,
and that's not saying much.
I was kind of excited. Bill Willingham, kind of on the book. But I perused the first two. I didn't read them all, but I kind of went through and make sure I was ready for the third one. I get in there and I was like, it's kind of unexciting.
Yeah, it started off with more promise because it seemed like it was going to be more of a detective mystery with the criminals, but the main criminals haven't even been featured in the past two issues. So I think that's kind of where it lost steam for me, as I thought the criminals and what they were doing was interesting, and now I don't really know what they're doing.
The art's fine. I like the art for the book itself. I think it looks pretty good. Obviously, it's not Jorge Jimenez, but
no. It's all right. It's not the best.
What is his name? Baltimore Rivas?
Oh,
whatever Baltimore was in Robbins was awful.
Yeah. Robbins had by far the worst art. It's I think Brian Lind that's doing Batman versus Bigby. And it's solid. Is it my favorite? No. But it does the job. There are moments where I like it. He seems better when he can lean into the horror aspects a little bit. So when you have, Bigby as the wolf, I like that stuff. And I like that we finally got Bigby as the wolf kind of confronting Batman a little bit. So, but yeah, I think the next few issues are going to make or break this title for me.
If you have to read a Batman book this week, or Batman-related title, I say read Nightwing. If you need to, I guess go to Batman versus Bigby. But I say just skip them all. Just take a skip week on fucking Batman and be like, you know what? Let's see what Joshua Williamson does in Batman 118.
Yeah, my advice is if you want to read a Batman book this week, don't.
Yeah, if you haven't been reading, Batman the Imposter, it's not the Batman book I want. It's not my style of Batman book, but it's actually really well illustrated and it's really well executed.
Agreed.
We didn't get your opinion on it. What is your opinion? What's going on in there? Who's this killer? Is it Bruce Wayne? It's got to be Bruce.
I don't think it's going to be Bruce. I mean, it might be. Like, they might go that route. I do feel like that would be a little bit of a too obvious route. And it's not something that I want to see, and I think it would damage the story overall for me. But it could be. I mean, they've already done questionable things with characters, mainly Alfred, that I don't agree with, so I wouldn't be surprised.
That's what I'm saying. It makes a point about the importance of Alfred. If you remove Alfred as a young age and he doesn't have that cornerstone in his life, that foundation, then he can't do it responsibly, and he ends up losing his marbles.
Hey, I mean, and that could be what they're going for. That, to me, that would logically make sense for the progression that they're going. I don't want it to be the case. I still think there's something potentially involved with Wesker that we don't know about yet. And they've already been toying with different villains and doing fun things with them. So I think it's 50-50 at this point. But I agree with you. It's not the Batman book that I want, but it's incredibly well written. The dialogue, the language, the characters, the motivations. I particularly love Bruce kind of playing the detective in this last issue and feeling bad about it, but thinking it was the greater good in the end that he was pushing towards. I loved that. I loved how it was done. And the art is fantastic. So we'll see. You've got your theories. I'm not going to say they're wrong. I'm just hoping that's not it.
And it's, it ties back to, it's got some Point Break in it, which is never a bad thing.
Never a bad thing.
So I know it's almost like when I read Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Death of Superman. And it's a whatever story, but if you read between the lines, it shows you how much Superman is holding back so he doesn't hurt people. Then when you have somebody get the power of what Superman has and goes absolutely nuts and just starts murdering everybody, it's like it's not a story about Lois Lane. It's a story about what Superman isn't doing that he could.
Agreed. Yeah, and if they take this route where Bruce is the killer, it'll play into like how dangerous is Batman. People already think he's unhinged, but how dangerous is he if he really is unhinged in a realistic way? Not like, my blood got mixed with Joker and a half Joker, half Batman type of way. Yeah. Scott Snyder. But yeah, no, it's believable. And
what happens if you remove Alfred? What happens if you remove Jim Gordon?
Yep. If you don't have those relationships, that structure, what happens if you never have a Robin? And
you break the character.
You break the character in much better ways than Tom King broke the character.
Well, yeah, and it's a lot more interesting and well illustrated, or well executed. Obviously, we weren't supposed to talk about this week, but whatever. We had to talk about a good Batman comic.
We had to talk about something positive, and we did get to talk about it last week.
Yeah, so I do want to say thank you very much to Josh for joining me. It was rough sledding this week.
Yeah.
Hopefully next week is going to be better. Obviously, you'll be with us on a Saturday on the Comics Aficionados. I imagine we'll be talking about the Fear State event there as well. You have any final words?
I just hope to God that the Batman books get better.
That's right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'll pray.